Thank you. Thank you so much. I'd like to talk about how sometimes the worst things that happen in your life can end up being your greatest gifts. How a pain you would never have chosen of your own volition chooses you. On April 9th, 1997, my younger brother, Gabe Weiner, a classical music producer, died unexpectedly of a brain aneurysm at the age of 26. As you can imagine, I was catapulted into the depths of shock and grief, but I was also thrown into a full existential crisis. We had sat Shiva all week at my parents' apartment, and on the last day, a member of the catering team asked to speak with me. She had been there each day that week and had been listening to the people speak about Gabe. She was the same age as he was, and she said that she was a fine artist. She told me that every night after Shiva, she had gone home and painted. Being confronted with the death of my young brother had made her recognize the illusion of having all the time in the world. That week, she had painted a whole new series of work and wanted to show it to me. She opened up a portfolio and began to walk me through the beautiful art she had made. Gabe's life, and now his death, had inspired the creation of art in another medium and had impacted a stranger's life. There was new art that now existed in the world, even if Gabe no longer did. That day was a turning point for me because I saw in real time that the course of one person's life can affect the path of those we have never met. At the time of Gabe's death, he had recently purchased a plot of land in Hell's Kitchen, and his plan had been to build a recording and mastering studio. But my passion was theater. My best friend at the time, also my business partner, was a young lad by the name of John Steingart. We had been working together on a number of projects you might call out of the box. And we had both shared a passion for live performance with a particular interest in emerging artists. John had become my creative touchstone by this point, and it was clear that whatever we were going to undertake professionally and later personally would be as a team. So we decided to view the plot of land on West 54th Street as a gift from my brother. And together, in concert with my parents, Michael and Zena Weiner, we made the decision to start what we like to think of as the biggest lemonade stand we could make. It took several years, but we began an odyssey of physical and theatrical planning. John and I were barely 30 years old, and while we were both embarking on professional careers in entertainment, neither of us had ever worked for a not-for-profit, or general managed, or run an organization, or even managed multiple people at one time, much less known the first thing about ground-up construction of a new building in New York City, what that was all about. So clearly, we were poised for success. New York at this time was losing great venues like West Beth and Fez, and we recognized a need for an organization that would preserve the ability for young artists to have a safe place to take risks. We envisioned a dynamic clubhouse that would support the work of talented artists at early stages of their careers. Thanks to our brilliant friend, Mandy Hackett, we were lucky enough to recruit the singular Jason Egan as our founding artistic director. Jason, we must have done something very good in a past life to have found you in this one, because there would be no Ars Nova without you. Once Jason was on board, the three of us, or the 3Js as we often called ourselves, began our journey together to build Ars Nova. We knew we couldn't do it all ourselves, so our idea was to bring in the best and the brightest of our peers whom we respected and admired and who were launching their own careers at the same time and needed office space. They would help curate straight plays, musicals, comedy, and contemporary music with us, and in return, we gave them an office, a phone, access to the theater, and a place to call home. This intrepid group of badass trailblazers consisted of Kara Medoff-Barnett, Mandy Hackett, Cara Welker, Rich Corson, Gordon Greenberg, Jeff Kreuter, Kim Rosenstock, Ramona Collier, Dickie DeBella, Chris Sauvé, Candy Adams, Andrew Lippa, Jillian Applebaum, Andy Baseman, James Spindler, Andrew Kircher, Jeremy Blocker, David Caprioli, I always screw it up, Caprioliotis, Paul Case, Matt Hobby, Dan Powell, Ryan Rummage, Jake Fogelnest, Teresa Bass, Jossie Florence, Emily Schultz, and of course, the extraordinary Renee Blinkwald, who joined us as we started to pick up steam. Despite how green we all were in so many ways, we had what I like to think of as a charming kind of hubris, a strong vision of what we wanted to make, and an optimistic and unflagging belief that if we banded together and worked hard enough, we could will it into existence. The first few years at Ars Nova were as Mickey and Judy, my dad's got a barn, as you can possibly imagine. Every single one of us lived on West 54th Street. We all ushered, house managed, worked the bar, even baked concessions. I'm looking at you, Kara Medoff. Designed and Xeroxed programs, hauled chairs in and out of the theater, ordered beer and pizza for the green room, and booked talent. Our earliest attempts at audience development meant calling everyone in our Rolodexes, remember Rolodexes? And because our building was situated next to The Daily Show, it often meant standing outside the front of the building and asking exiting audience members who had just seen Jon Stewart's show taped if they wanted to see another show at Ars Nova. Gradually, we grew. We started adding programs, audience members, and expanded from the one-offs we did every night to our first runs, main stage production. Although we used to joke that because of the small size of our space, you were never going to come out humming the set, you actually did. Somehow, our little 99-seat black box managed to have not one, but 2 shows within the same year that featured a trapeze. We kept trying to show up for our artists. We did our best to keep tickets competitive with the price of a movie, because we wanted to grow our community and to foster the next generation of theater goers. I am struck by the realization that the day I lost my brother and my family as I knew it, that in my grief, I wanted to create something for myself, another kind of family, a community that was evergreen, that would always be there, that nothing could take away. Today, our family is enduring another painful challenge. 5 years ago, John was diagnosed with ALS. No need for me to drill down on just how much that sucks, because it sucks. The only thing I know for certain in this world is that while we cannot control what happens to us, we do have control in agency in how we want to show up in a given moment and what we choose to make of it. John Steingart, my life with you as a partner is a ride I never could have imagined. There isn't anyone I have laughed, or argued as hard with. I never need to ask myself, oh, I wonder what John would think, because I know what you would think or do in any given situation at every moment. Your voice lives in my head at all times. In fact, your voice right now is telling me that I have vastly overwritten this speech. But I don't care. You are the most original thinker I have ever met. You are the least trendy person I know. But yet you spot and identify trends way ahead of the curve. You have always been Ars Nova's chief strategist. Let's ask John what he thinks, or John will know what to do, has been a common refrain around the office from day one. You are my greatest teacher. You are a partner, a supporter, and a cheerleader. And none of this would have been possible without you and your strategic vision. You have always been the calm, steady voice talking me off the ledge when I spin out. For our wedding dance, which we practiced on the stage of Ars Nova for months prior to our wedding, we danced to the song, "The Best Is Yet to Come." And although those two young, hopeful people could never have imagined some of the challenges they would face in their life together, they also could never have imagined all of the beauty that they have created. Leo, Ruby, and Micah, you are the pride and joys of our life. John, if someone had told me back when we first met what lay ahead of us, even the painful parts, I would choose it all over again. The joys, the sadnesses, and everything in between are all a part of it. The great philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." That is what John and I have tried to do for the last 2 decades, to make flame and brightness from all of it. The poet Sean Thomas Dougherty asked, "Why bother?" The answer is simple. He says, because right now there was someone out there with a wound in the exact shape of your words. To the artists in this room, we are counting on you to use your precious gifts and your precious time on this planet to alchemize all of it into fuel and art and beauty, and order it and give it meaning, to manifest something permanent in a world where there is no such thing as permanence, to distill it into something that inspires creativity, interconnectivity, community, and more life. Know that Ars Nova, this community, will continue to support you along the way. I know empirically that on the other side of pain and loss lies beauty and art. Thank you to every single one of you for allowing us to find a place where our passion and our purpose could align, and for helping to make these last 20 years possible. It has been the privilege of a lifetime.